Well, it's easy to tell what Mattel's favorite episode of Cars on the Road is. It is without a doubt the third episode, Salt Fever. Now, I definitely think it has something to do with the fact that there are quite a few racers in that episode, really the only episode that features racers. So, of course, they know that, they have a history of selling racers more than other cars, so we might as well prioritize them and release a bunch of them right off the bat. And that is exactly what they've done. I mean, we really don't have any Cars diecast from the second episode of Cars on the Road, which actually has a lot of characters in it. That is, of course, Lights Out, like the Haunted Mansion type episode. I really wish they would start releasing something like Randy, for example. That would be a simple enough to do repaint. Or like the Legend episode. We really only have Griswold from that one. I don't know why they do what they do, but either way, it's still nice to get these cars, and I'm sure we'll get them all eventually, so it really doesn't matter. And, I like that they're trying to complete all the racers fast right out the bat. I don't even know how many there are. I would say there's probably no more than 10. Didn't look like there was that many in the episode, but who knows? They're really all just in the background. We really don't get to see many of them race. But either way, we're going to be taking a look at a new Salt Flats racer today. And that is, of course, Gearsten Marshall right here. So welcome on back to the Cars Garage, everyone. Now, this guy first came out in 2023 Singles Case C, and he actually was one of the first new Cars on the Road diecast to be released for the year. Or really just one of the first new diecasts in general. Not even from Cars on the Road. Now, he did share the spotlight with the new versions of Road Trip Lightning McQueen and Road Trip Mater, who I actually messed up. I said they were in Case B, but no, they were in Case C with this guy. I forgot. I thought they were in the first case of the year, but they weren't. Because, of course, if you remember, there was no Case A this year. It was canceled for some weird reason, but who knows? Maybe Gearsten would have been in that initial case. I'm not really sure. But either way, we first saw him debut in Case C. And he actually has been in quite a few cases after that, so he shouldn't really be too hard to find, despite me thinking he would be at first. Now, there definitely is a big elephant in the room with this guy, because, of course, if you remember in the last few reviews that we've done for Salt Flats racers, like Royce Revsley here, we talked a lot about how I'm just not a big fan of those cakey, caked on salty white tires. They just don't look good. Doesn't look realistic. Of course, they've done that on every single Salt Flats racer they've done so far. Of course, Revo Koss, Royce Revsley, and they've even done it with cars that you don't even really see their tires, like That's Jammin'. I don't have him open yet, but they did it on him. And they even did it on Peggy Liner, the big exclusive car, the really long one from that 11-pack. So they really have done on every car that appears in the Salt Flats so far, even on Noriyuki and Sarah Coggs for that matter. So, as you can see on Gearsten here, there is absolutely no caked on salty tires. So I'm glad. I really am glad. It looks better. This is what I wanted it to look like originally. But now I'm just confused. Like, why, Mattel? None of the other ones had salt on their tires on the artworks. So it's not like they can make that excuse. So I really don't know why they didn't put it on Gearsten and they did it for everyone else. Like, I really should be happy because I don't like the salt anyways. I think it looks really cheap and, like, just cartoonish. It doesn't look right on these cars that actually do look pretty well detailed and everything. It just looks too plasticky as well. I just don't like it. And if you're not going to do it right, don't do it at all. I would prefer them to put a little bit of salt on the tires, like just on the treads, not really on the sides so much, like they've done with previous cars, like the snow on Mater and McQueen, like they used to do in the Christmas series. Stuff like that. Like, it can look good, but this does not look good. All that cakey white tires. I don't like it at all. So, I guess I should be happy that they didn't, but either way, now it just looks inconsistent, so I'm not really happy or mad anymore. Now I'm just confused. Either way, it says Say It New for 2023 on the top. There's a nice look at his artwork. He is number 4, as you can see, and I love that bright yellow color he has. He is a classic rod model, just like Revo Koss, so this very well might just be the last one we get of this model for the Salt Flats racers. Although, I don't know. I know there's a few that look like this in the Road Rumblers episode. We all know they reused a lot of models throughout the Cars on the Road series, but, I think we moved on from that now. As seen in Cars on the Road, and it's come to my attention that I was thinking they just only put 6 on the back of some of them, but no, they actually only have 6 cars on the back of all of the Cars on the Road diecast in this main line here. Really weird, because usually there should be 7, but I guess because the Cars on the Road logo comes down so far, I guess that's why. But either way, there's Gearsten up there. Nice look at his stock image, as you can see. It's a little robotic, but, Oh well, there's Greebles, still gotta review him. K-Pillar Durev, just reviewed her. Speed Demon, of course. Griswold, and Royce Rebsley, who we also just reviewed. So yeah, definitely gonna get a second Greebles and a second Dad's Jammin', because I gotta review them soon. And Noriyuki and Sarah Cause. I'm waiting to get that 2-pack though. Or the 11-pack to review them. But either way, there's a lot to talk about this guy. So let's just open him up right now. Because I really do want to see, like, I just want to know why. Why did they make his tires black? Let's find out. Yeah, I'm just trying to wrap my head around why they would make Gearsten tires black when everyone else has the salty white tires. Like, if you're going to commit to something, Mattel, at least stick with it, you know? Well, in this case, I don't know if I feel that way, because, I mean, at least make one of them good, and that's Gearsten, so, I don't know. I'm just a little confused by the whole subject, why some are white, why some are black. I really don't know. But either way, they do look much better black. I wish they all had black tires and a black base, because it just looks better. And Royce doesn't even have the white base. He has like a brown base for some reason. So I don't know what they're doing here. But basically, if you want me to show you what I meant by like put some detail on the tires, well, here's Griswold. Now, she actually has, or he, I don't really know. I always forget. But see like how they detail it? You can still see the black from the tires. The whole base is brown, like supposed to be mud, not salt, obviously. But at least on the side, like, it looks splattered on. Like, it doesn't look like it's just caked on there. That is the detail I was kind of hoping for with the Salt Flats racers. And that is not what we got. As you can see, this is just, I mean, absolutely horrible. Do I need to show it again? Everyone's seen it by now. I don't like it at all. It doesn't look good. And I've gotten used to it for sure. But at first, I really hated it. Even more so than I do now. But either way, we can't really judge Gearsten on that because he doesn't even have that. So I guess he's not all that bad. You know, he looks cool. I do like his expression. It's not, you know, too exciting. It's just kind of a basic smiling little grin. But what I find kind of weird is that he obviously has like this divider in between his eyes, which a lot of old cars have. He is probably from like the 50s, I would assume. Even the 40s maybe, who knows. He is pretty old. Like, he looks like some of the cars from Doc's racing days. But yeah, there is a divider in between the eyes, but yet his eyes kind of like, his eyelids kind of like continuously go down. So it's kind of interesting. Brown eyes though. They're not very, you know, clear, unfortunately. But that's because he doesn't have a plastic eye plate, which is, I mean, understandable. I don't really like the plastic eye plates, but at least they look clearer. Like, look at Royce Rebsley's. You can actually see his eyeballs a lot better, but then again, the paint never really matches perfectly because it's plastic. So there's definitely some pros and cons, but on Revo, he also has no plastic eye plate, just metal, so don't look that great. But, you know, I don't know why they do it for some, not for others. Kind of the same deal with the with the tires kind of thing. The whole front end, though, looks like it was very, very reworked. It does not look, you know, like this is his original design. Of course, he doesn't have headlights, doesn't have a grille. Like, no really visible screws or anything. It's very, very minimal. This whole part, like, you can actually see the crack. Not in, like, the actual die-cast body, but, you know, in the show, he would have a crack, I guess, just to make him go faster on the salt flats. Makes sense. Obviously, you know, you want to try to go as fast as you can. Trying to beat your time and everything, that is kind of the point. I feel like that kind of defeats the fun of racing, though. And so, I don't know if I would enjoy the salt flats, you know, watching cars race on it, because it's just like a one strip, you know, it's kind of boring, I think. Maybe that's why they didn't show too much of it in Cars on the Road. Also, they were rushed for time. But a lot of the episode actually, you know, focused a lot on Mater and the Speed Demon and everything, so maybe that's why they didn't show a lot of the actual Salt Flats racers racing on the salt. I would have liked to see a little more of it, though. We didn't really get to see much of that. He is number 4, though, 04. He's got a couple little decals, RDRR. No idea what that means. If you guys do, please let me know. He's got number 15 on the bottom, too, so I'm assuming his real number is 4, though. It's not 15, so I don't know why he's got that number there. Big dent on the door, though, I think. If I'm not mistaken, I believe. Yep, wow. Oh, actually, no. I guess it's not the exact same. I was going to say that's the exact same dent River Scott has. It's actually not the exact same, though. Interesting. Why would they put it in the same spot, but not have it be the exact same indentation. I don't know why. Kind of weird, but I guess it's not lazy, I guess I can't say. I was going to say that. Either way, a little bit of decals on the side. Big blue stripe there, kind of like going over his door, down under his wheel well there. He doesn't have any wheel wells, by the way. He's kind of like a Formula car almost. Not really, but like an old school Formula car. I like his rims though. They're pretty well detailed. Pretty much the exact same as Revo's, as you can see. Just yellow instead of white, or in blue. I said white because I'm looking at that white, trying to say something else bad about it, but I'll hold my tongue for now. He does have little black dots in like the rivets. They're not actually real rivets, but they're like fake looking plastic rivets, which is cool because usually Thailand cars I find they always expose to rivets, like on Chisaki, Suki, Hirumi. They really shouldn't have exposed rivets like that, but they always do that now for Thailand ones, and it doesn't look good. So I don't know why they filled it in here. I mean, I'm glad. Technically though, it doesn't match completely. Those technically should be yellow as well, and they're not, because looking at the artwork, I'm seeing that they are yellow. So I don't know why they made them black, but oh well, at least they kind of tried. On the back side of things, big number 04, tiny number 15, and I find this really weird, but look at the screws that he has like in his trunk area. First of all, there's no door handle for the trunk, and every single little like side of it is completely screwed on. So I don't know why. I don't know how he's gonna get into his trunk. I mean, first of all, he doesn't even have hands to get into his trunk, but even like if a Pity wanted to, I don't think he could because it's completely screwed on there. So it's kind of weird. But also, a weird thing to note, all of the rivets, the screws on the left side are black, and all the ones on the right are silver. So I don't know why, but that's kind of weird, eh? I think it looks cool though. Kind of a cool little detail. At first I thought maybe I got an error, but no, it's not the case. Some people were complaining about this back tire too, like the back wheel well, where the wheel well would be. I don't know why though, because looking at the artwork here, and you can see, it looks like it's accurate, so I don't know why anyone would complain. But by the way, there is those little rivets in between the tires too. Just to note that I wasn't trying to play a fast one on you. They are yellow, so sorry Mattel, sorry to bash you, but they screw up a lot, so I find it fun now at this point to notice their mistakes. But they get things right sometimes. Sometimes they make improvements. Not all the time though. Once again, he has a little divider in the back window as well. Definitely shows his age for sure, which is cool. I like seeing the age on cars. Back bumper as well, just like Revo Cos has. As you can see, nice that they made it yellow, like it should be, I'd assume. Doesn't match perfectly, but it's alright. But even on Revo, like, they actually did that part of him the white, salty color as well. So, imagine how different Gearsten would be if he was all salty and everything. That would look pretty gross, I think. This side, though, is the exact same as the other one. Has a little dent on the side as well, one right there, so I actually like that they included the dents. Shows his wear and tear, because he is a pretty old car. I don't know what this is here on the side. Two, like, little lines. They're definitely embossed off. You can see them. You can feel them. I don't know what they're there for, though. Maybe they're probably, like, vents or something, because he doesn't have a grill, so yeah, that would actually make sense. They probably are vents. Pretty cool. Now, because, of course, like, you need your engine exposed somehow. You need to have a little intake to let it all air out and everything, or you probably blow up, Gearsten. So you remove your grill is where most of your like air comes in for the engine, I would assume. I'm not a mechanic though, so don't take my word on it. On the top though, very, very basic, just a big old number 4 with some white trim outlined on it. Not much going on though. Even has little embossments right here, just like Revo has. So they are very similar. Then there is some noticeable differences up here and there. Mine's got like a little blemish there, which is unfortunate. You can actually feel it. It kind of sucks. But here's a look at the base. R40A. What the? Just rambling all my words. I'm so upset about all that salt on the other ones. Yeah, I think I'm taking it out on Gearsten. And that's not fair, because he's the only one that actually has black tires and a black base. And there's made in Thailand, though. Very cool base. It's a very weird shape. But, yeah, I think that's going to be it for Gearsten's one-on-one review. Now it's time to take a look at him next to a few other cars, though, like we were kind of doing intermixed with his review. Here is Hot Rod River Scott. Now, I want to show him because he is pretty similar, like I was talking about and I was kind of showing you earlier. Very similar, like, mold, very similar shape and everything, but they're obviously not the exact same. Well, I didn't even realize the windows are way bigger on River Scott, as you can see. That's kind of weird. Like, way taller. Of course, he does have his wheel wells because he's not too concerned about going that fast anymore. He's an old man, hanging out at the Cotter Pin and whatnot. But there's this big grill. Like, Gearsten would normally have that. That's what I was talking about. How this whole part is, like, reworked here. That's what, Gearsten would probably look like if he didn't rework himself to be a salt flats racer. There's his little headlights there. His grill. So that's what I meant. Like, how did he rework this part, but yet still keep his mouth? Like, wouldn't that part be connected to your mouth? Like, be like ripping your face off and, like, putting a new one on. Like, it doesn't really make sense. But, I mean, who knows? They've reworked cars before, like in the Piston Cup. Somehow, a lot of those cars have changed their models. Who knows how? Doesn't really make any sense. Like Murray Clutchburn, for example. But yeah, also to note, Gearsten doesn't even have a license plate, which makes sense, because that's just weighing him down, probably a little bit, not much, but wouldn't really make sense for a racer to have a license plate anyways, so not a big deal. Look at that, though. River Scott has those same kind of, like, screws around his trunk there. That is really weird. I don't know how you're getting in your trunk, then. It doesn't really make sense. Maybe that's how it was on old cars. It must be, because I don't think Mattel would screw that up. They wouldn't add screws. That wouldn't really make sense. But yeah, there's River Scott. There's so many of these cars with this model now that I'm just screwing up the name like crazy. But here's Revo Cost again. I know we just showed him, but show him again. These guys are definitely more similar, though. Basically the same mold of diecast. They're just changed a little bit. Looks like, yeah, they have all the dents in the same spots. Look at that. What a shame, Mattel. Obviously, like, that wouldn't, I don't think, maybe it would be. Maybe it is Pixar's fault, who knows. They did reuse a lot of models throughout Cars on the Road, but, I mean, you can't have two cars with dents in the exact same spot. That doesn't even make sense, You're never going to get a dent in the exact same spot. So that's just Pixar and Mattel being lazy, I think. Now here is Duke Coulter's, also very similar, kind of to River Scott, so I thought I'd show him. Just quickly, though. Obviously, he's more similar to River. Got those bigger windows, which is weird. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like that's probably not accurate. I feel like the windows of all things probably wouldn't change. Because I think these are, like, the exact same models in Pixar. Like, in Pixar's computer files, I think they're the same model. Like Gearsten and Revo, I think they're the same as River Scott. So, I would say that's probably a mistake on Mattel's part. They do like to reshape cars sometimes, but I don't know why they would in this case. Kind of weird. Maybe they just, because they wanted to make him, like, a little bit higher. He is off the ground a little more, as you can see. Oh yeah, but here's Caleb Worley. Almost forgot to say his name. Number 3. He was actually both of these guys. Technically, all 3 have been released in 2023. Well, not Hot Rod River Scott, but the, what's his name? The Heyday version of him was released in 2023. Hoping I get that one soon. I'd like to. It'd be kind of cool. But yeah, now when we put all these together, they just don't look very consistent. Like, look at that. That's what I was talking about. I just hate when they do things like that. If you're going to do something, at least commit to it. I'm not saying I want salty tires on Gearsten. I really don't. Unless they're going to do them right. But, you know what I mean? It's just a bit unfortunate. But let's put Mater in the background. That was really Mater's episode, though, either way. These guys were just kind of in the background, just kind of doing their thing, but they didn't really matter in the episode all that much. Here's the Speed Demon flying up here, too. She had a bigger part more than any of them, and she's not even a Salt Flats racer. I do think it was a missed opportunity to not focus on one Salt Flats racer more than another. Like, it would have been kind of cool to get to know one of them, kind of had them be like a main character for the episode. Honestly, I would have preferred something like that rather than the whole Speed Demon storyline that they went with, because that was just, none of it even happened, And it wasn't really sad either. Like, I know Mater basically died, but they didn't make it sad, so it just wasn't really, I don't know, it didn't really do it for me. But I am happy that we got some new racers out of it. So let me know what your favorite Salt Flats racer is in the comments down below. And I'll see y'all next time for another Cars on the Road review right here on the Cars Garage.